Guys, I am absolutely delighted to welcome to the podcast, the legend Dennis Prager. I've enjoyed being on his show. I've even guest hosted his show over the years, but I'm thrilled to have him on mine. Dennis is, of course, the radio commentator on Salem Media. He's lectured all over the world. He conducts symphony orchestras. He's a best-selling author. He's co-founder of Prager University. And he has a new book just out, The Rational Passover Haggadah. I got that right, I think. Dennis, welcome. Delighted to have you on the podcast. I want to talk about your book, but I thought I'd start by asking for your take on the Ukraine. On our side of the aisle, you've got a sort of isolationist camp. It's none of our business. We should stay out of there. Of course, you've got the old neoconservative view that the United States needs to stand up. This is a new version of the Cold War. Russia is kind of beating the old Soviet drum in a new form. How do you think about this Ukraine conflict?
I think of the world and I think about everything. And for some, this is a joy, and for others, it's annoying. I think of everything in moral terms, but I also think of everything in rational terms. So morally, we're seeing about as pure an act of evil as imaginable. Ukraine did not threaten Russia. Neither do Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, or Moldova. I mean, these are not exactly threats to Russia, which is 1/9 of the world's land surface. So this notion that, it's because of potential NATO membership. Do NATO nations attack Russia? I mean, let's live on Earth. Who has something to fear? Poland from Russia or Russia from Poland? All right, on Earth. Outside of academia, who has to fear from whom? The reason that he invaded is that he wants to reconstitute the Russian Empire and or the Soviet Union. He said that the greatest calamity of the 20th century was the fall of the Soviet Union. He's a former colonel in the KGB. These things are so obvious that this is when, Dinesh, I have said on my radio show for much of my 40 years, I get paid to say the obvious. Well paid, I might add. Well paid to say the obvious. That's how I look at it. All right, so that doesn't mean we can send in troops. I truly do believe that this man might use nuclear weapons. I think at this point, I did not think of this till now. I think he's a bit mad. And apparently the isolation that he has lived in during the 2 years of COVID has exacerbated his mental issues. And when you have an unstable man calling his nation to be on nuclear alert, that's scary. That is scary stuff. So we can't send in troops, but that we should be inundating them with javelins. I mean, they should have as many anti-tank weapons as the Russians have tanks. So this notion, if we're one final word, it's a long answer, forgive me. This notion that if we're not attacked, it's none of our business, then was the Korean War wrong? We weren't attacked by North Korea or China. I mean, then why does God give? Forget God. I believe in God. So, but forget that. Why did luck give America the greatest strength on earth? To only be used to defend New York or San Francisco? It's not my theory.
With regard to Putin, it looks like, as you say, he wasn't threatened. So he had, in that sense, no reason to do this, except that maybe his reason was, look, we've got this bungling, mumbling Biden in the White House. We've got the familiar Democrat that doesn't understand the world, doesn't understand the nature of aggression or power. And so we can count on, we here meaning Putin, can count on a kind of vacillating, confused response. And so Putin sees this, as does Xi in China. This is their time to move against Ukraine, to move against Taiwan, precisely because although we have the power, we don't at this stage and with this government know how to use it.
That's entirely accurate. People say, well, look at all the nice things that Trump said about Putin. The bottom line, and the only line that matters, is he didn't invade anybody under the Trump administration. The last invasion was Crimea, and that was under Obama. This one is under Biden. Biden has demoralized our military, and the most important, the great villains of the West are the environmentalist fanatics who made America, which was exporting oil to Europe, made America and Europe dependent on Russian oil because these nuts, they're all nuts. These people say that because it's an existential threat to human existence, global warming, there is no price too high to pay. If we have to sacrifice a whole nation, who cares? All that matters is fossil fuels. That's all that matters to these people. They're moral idiots. And by the way, they're not real, because they're not even for nuclear power, which is carbon free.
I mean, Dennis, this is a little bit of my worry. I remember from one of the Churchill biographies that it was said of Hitler that when he met Chamberlain, he was struck by the fact that Chamberlain kept opening and shutting his umbrella. And from Hitler's point of view, the umbrella symbolized British weakness. This guy can't even take a little bit of rain. And in effect, what Hitler said is, this is not the England of Sir Walter Raleigh. So we've been putting on global parade a woke military that is concerned about climate change and declares, domestic terrorism the greatest threat and puts cadets in high heels. Isn't that what is feeding this appetite for global aggression? The belief that the normal John Wayne, United States of America has changed and can be counted on not to effectively oppose this kind of aggression.
That's entirely right. These people read our country. They see the demoralization of our military. They see the State Department in charge, and it's the same State Department that said to, excuse me, that's the same State Department that said to President Trump, "Don't you dare move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem." The world leaders said that. Trump did what he believed was right for America. End of issue. That is not the case now. What threat did the XL pipeline pose to the environment? If anything, it was good for the environment, because otherwise oil is shipped by train, and they have accidents. The pipeline is far safer. But anything that allows us to still use even natural gas, the most dangerous fanatics of our time, the environmentalist fanatics about global warming, don't care. I tell you, Dinesh, to see the world in the thrall of Greta Thunberg is to see a world gone mad.
Dennis, let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about the rational Passover Haggadah and your work on the Jewish scriptures. We'll be right back.
Thank you.